Welcome, Dipa Chauhan. We're going to have a quick conversation about your experience with sales coaching. Can you give us your background, what you are doing sales in, and why you chose to hire me as your sales coach?
Sure. So my company is the Living Proof Institute, and it's co-owned with my husband, Sachin Patel. And for me, I see clients and see prospective clients within our company. And the main program that we offer is called our Living Light Metabolic Reset program. And this program comes in 3 different tiers in terms of the features and benefits that are involved, and then also obviously the investment as well. So I am the main point of contact in terms of doing the sales calls and the discovery calls. And we have just recently hired someone as well, but I do a lot of the discovery calls to ensure that prospective clients are a good fit for our program. And then I do see some of those clients as well, but not too many. So that's kind of my background and my role within the company.
Great. So I was invited to give a sales training to the practitioners in your mentorship. And after that, you and Sachin followed up and said, maybe we should talk about doing some sales coaching for you.
Yes.
What were your top 3 challenges in sales before we started working together?
So my top 3 challenges were that I didn't really have a process in place. So it was just like a random conversation. I didn't really have like a structured process. And for me, I like having a little bit of structure just so that I can keep the conversation moving and get out some of the key pieces of information that I need to from the client. Number 2 is that I had a hard time collecting payment from a client at the end of the call. It always ended up being kind of like a 2-step process where I would talk to them, and then near the end, it would get a little awkward when it was time to ask for payment. And third is just asking the right questions. Like, I think as practitioners, sometimes we talk too much about the features and the clinical stuff and the nitty-gritty rather than getting people to, well, we do a lot of the talking rather than the client doing more of the talking. So, that was another one of my challenges, is that I felt that I was getting too deep into the clinical stuff and not really letting them talk and open up about what their challenges are.
Gotcha. And why did you choose to work with me as your sales coach?
So after I heard your presentation for our practitioner community, I really resonated with your process and having that structure in place. I really felt like the questions that you asked allowed the client to open up a little bit more and really have them identify with their problem more so. And I think that the process that you went through with us allowed us to tap more into the emotional side of sales rather than just focusing on the logical. Because as I learned from you and many other sales coaches, is that people make decisions with their heart and their emotions, not always with their head, right? And their brain. So
Yeah.
really, I liked how your process allowed clients to tap more into that emotional side of their struggles.
Okay.
Ultimately going to drive decision, right?
Okay. So focusing on or realizing that the decision-making process is an emotional one.
Yes.
Okay. And what were the other results for you?
Through the training with you, I felt like I had a more structured process, like in terms of how the call is going to go and where to focus the discussion and, really leading them and guiding them to making a decision, right? This is not necessarily a call for them being able to collect more information. It's a call to guide them to a decision.
Okay, so before our coaching, you were thinking of it like it's an informal conversation, not a whole lot of structure, giving information, giving information. The end of the call comes, we're not closing and collecting, so there's a follow-up needed. And then there was some weirdness in the follow-up too, like they're not returning my emails. Should I email them again? You know, okay.
Yeah.
How did you feel about selling before working with me versus how do you feel about selling now?
So before it made me uncomfortable. I didn't really enjoy doing it. I felt like it was not the right role for me. And I felt kind of forced to do it just because it's my business and who else is going to do it? And I feel like it also is a role that's very important because it's one of the main first contacts that people have with someone within the company is the sales department, right? So I didn't really have the best feeling about it, but after going through the sales training with you, like I realized that it's not really sales, it's just guiding people to make a decision towards making their life and their health better, right?
Yeah.
So, there's times where I do get on calls and people are just stuck and, they may not be able to make that decision right away. It doesn't happen as frequently as it used to, but, I want to see that health transformation in them so much more than they may want to, but it's realizing and showing them the potential and the transformation that they can witness or experience by going through our program, right? And so really painting that picture for them and allowing them to see the possibilities is something that you greatly helped me with.
Awesome. We also have the opportunity to work with Aaron, who's on your team, who sells a different program, a very high-end, high-price program to practitioners. And we got to all three sort of work together on sales. What changes did you see with Aaron and in conversations as we were both going through sales training together? What did you notice in him, and what did you notice about how sales was changing with him in the conversation?
Yeah, so I think very similarly, he was probably focused more on the logical, more of the information-based type of call rather than a decision and emotional-based call. So I think that he's been able to incorporate a lot of the key questions that you train us on asking to really bring that emotion out in people, right? Because at the end of the day, whether you're selling like a weight loss program or a coaching program, it's like getting them to see where they are currently and where they're stuck and how that's impacting them and their overall life and those around them too, right? So it's not always necessarily about the weight or about whatever health issue or whatever business issue they're struggling with. It's about how that's impacting their overall life and their overall relationships, right? So getting them to see the bigger picture.
Good. What sort of measurements can you look at that have improved before working together and after working together? Like, for example, percentage of close rate or percentage of referrals or monthly revenues, if you're familiar with any of the metrics that we've been tracking.
Yeah, so I would say that we've been doing a lot of webinars recently, and I would say that my close rate has significantly increased. So before, many of our clients would come in through referrals, which for the most part is going to be a higher close rate versus, something like a webinar or, 5-pound challenge or, any one of those other ways of getting leads. I think traditionally industry average is like 20 to 30%, but I would say mine is like anywhere from 30 to 40, if not even sometimes close to 50, right? Like the cancellations and no-shows, like that I don't really count towards my percentage. So it's definitely increased, and therefore obviously revenues increased as well. And, more importantly, lives changed has increased as well.
Good. if you had to guess to quantify the financial impact that this improvement has had on the overall business, how would you quantify it?
How would I quantify it? I mean, in terms of, well, a couple of things. I think it's helped me become more confident. I think, like I have a little cheat sheet note here in terms of all the key takeaways that you taught me during our training. And one of them is the prize never chases. So,
Yes.
it's helped me be more confident. And that not only has trickled into my discovery call and sales call process, but also into, the way I deliver webinars. And because that ultimately is kind of like sales too. You're not getting on a one-on-one call with people, but it's ultimately allowed me to be more confident. So it's hard to put a number to it, but I think, I mean, last year we were mostly getting clients through referrals, but now we're doing referrals and we're doing, more outward bound marketing like webinars. And so I would say like our revenue has probably doubled since last year because we are doing more outward bound marketing, and it's allowed me to be more confident and refine that sales process, even more than what we had currently, previously, sorry.
Amazing. So, you inspire a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of other practitioners, and there's so many things you can work on in business, so many different things you can invest on. Why is investing in the skill of selling so important? And what would you recommend to anybody who's thinking about between different investments to make in their business, why maybe considering investing in sales coaching would be good for them?
Well, I mean, if you're investing in marketing and advertising and getting new leads, you have to know how to convert those leads to clients. And that's what the sales process allows you to do, right? So you can invest all this money in marketing and getting leads, but then the ultimate way that your business is going to grow and increase revenue is to convert them to clients. And that's the sales process allows you to do that. Right. So I think it is definitely, obviously one of the most, if not the most important skill and investment that you can make in your business.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Any final thoughts? Any other words of advice to anybody watching this, thinking about investing in themselves?
I would say that, I think for most of us, in terms of, especially if you're a practitioner, you don't learn this in school, right? It's a skill. It's something that takes practice, something that needs you to have some sort of structure or process in place. And I think the coaching that I did with you was invaluable. It, really allowed me to, develop that process that was right for me and my business. And then I also feel like the coaching with you, you were very supportive. I love the feedback that you gave. Every week we kind of dove deeper into certain aspects of the discovery call, right? Like in terms of talking about the opportunity audit and then overcoming objections, all the different types of objections that can come up. So, it was a very worthwhile investment in myself and my business.
Good. Thank you so much, Dipa. It's been a pleasure working with you.
You're welcome. Pleasure working with you too.